Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this week's edition of Houston County News. And of course, big news this week from the city of Crockett. Lee Stanley leaving as city administrator. And Mr. Stanley joins us this morning on the podcast. Good morning, Mr. Stanley. I have a lot of questions about what's really going on behind the scenes. And I hope you've come ready today and are willing to talk about what's actually happening.
Nah, I don't think so.
No, we're just kidding. We're just kidding. The interview's coming up in just a minute. Stick around. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Sunday morning edition of Houston County News. I'm Messenger Reporter Greg Ritchie. Thank you so much for being with us. Our normal partner in crime every week, Kendall Hickson, back in town. You may remember she was telling us she took a trip up to Idaho to visit some family, but unfortunately she's gone sick this morning. So, Kendall, we hope you're doing well. It could have been potato poisoning. We're not sure. We're looking into the case, but you will keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Hope you get better real soon. This week on the show, as you already saw in our little opening goof there, we are going to talk to Lee Stanley, Crockett City Administrator, who many of you may have seen is leaving the city at the end of the month. We understand this is mutual, but there's more to it than that. And we're going to have a few questions for him to kind of find out about that. I'm not sure what he's going to be able to tell us or be willing to tell us, but we're certainly going to throw the questions at him. Hey, first thing this week in news, before we get to sports and all the other things we have for you, of course, I'm sure most of you saw by now there was a single plane crash at Houston County Airport. Now, the chairman of the airport board told me really nothing like this has happened out there for 15, 20 years. There was one pilot on board. It's a 7-seater plane. Now, we tried to find the pilot. I tried all day to find the company that owns the plane. We understand it was some kind of a charter plane. The pilot was landing. Something went wrong. We don't exactly know, but he came off the runway. Now, the witnesses out there told me that he hopped out of the plane, and within about 10 seconds, it caught on fire. And for those of you out and about in the county, I mean, all the way from the Loop, boy, you could see that black plume. And by the time I got out there, they just about got it out. He was taken to Mid-Coast here in Crockett. Fine, went home. But I'll tell you, it's a good thing he was landing with an empty plane, because if he'd have had passengers, he might have made it out, but he might have been the only one. It was pretty amazing how that stuff can go up so quickly. We still don't know exactly if he was training, fueling up, coming in to pick people up, or what was going on. But if we get some more information on that, we'll certainly be happy to pass it along. Now, we've got some more stuff coming up for you. We're going to take our first break here. We're coming right back after this. Love is in the air in Houston County, Texas. Join us for the 44th annual Love Lady Love Fest, a hometown tradition filled with fun for the whole family. From the Love Fest coronation to the parade, barbecue cook-off, baking contest, and fairy tale themed beauty pageant, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Come experience small town charm, big-hearted fun, and memories you'll treasure. Make plans to visit Love Lady, where Love Fest traditions live on. This event promotion proudly sponsored by Houston County Hotel Occupancy Tax Funds, helping showcase our communities and bring visitors together. Now, moving on with the show this week, she was out sick last week herself. One of the little bugs going around. But this week we are going to welcome Miss Peyton Pierce with sports. Peyton, good morning.
Thanks, Greg, and good morning. With our Houston County News Sports Update, I'm Peyton Pierce. The Crockett Bulldogs took a tough loss to Onalaska with the final score of 121-65. The Lady Bulldogs won by a basket in their matchup with Onalaska, winning 52-50. The Lovelady Lions won last week 56-48 in an away game at Normandy, while the Lady Lions took a loss 52-44. The Lions and the Sandys are set to meet Tuesday night in Grapeland, with the girls kicking things off at 6 p.m. The Grapeland Sandys took on district rival Centerville early last week, winning 69-58. The Sandyettes took a loss to Leon, going down 27-43. In La Texo, senior Lady Tiger Madeline Smith celebrated 1,000 points with the team as both teams traveled to Groveton on Tuesday. The Kennard Tigers took out Wells at a home district game Friday night, winning the game 79-61. The Lady Tigers struggled this time, losing their game against Wells 39-69. Sports fans, we need your help. Send us your pictures, scores, highlights from local sports matches so we can include them in our podcast. And remember, your business can sponsor our weekly sports update, support local media and our kids, and get your message seen by thousands of people each week, right here in Houston County. Contact us to find out more. With your Houston County News Sports Update, I'm Peyton Pierce. Catch you next week.
I have a proven record of cutting property taxes. I've done it 4 sessions in a row. Last session, I passed the largest property tax cut in American history, meaning that 1 in every 5 state dollars went towards lowering your property tax bill. I'm Trent Ashby. As your next state senator, I'll keep increasing the homestead exemption, rein in out-of-control appraisals, and put as much money back into your pocket as possible.
At Darling Ingredients, we're more than a company. We're a driving force in transforming materials that others often view as waste into valuable products that feed animals, fertilize crops to fuel trucks and planes, and nourish people across the globe. From sustainable solutions that reduce food waste to innovative materials that shape industries, our work makes a meaningful impact in supporting daily life and demonstrates that sustainability and profitability can go hand in hand. From right here in Houston County to more than 15 countries around the world, Darling Ingredients, exactly as nature intended.
Well, and as promised, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston County News. And this week, we are actually joined by Mr. Lee Stanley. And good morning, and thanks for stopping by, as always.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Now, you were on the podcast a month or so ago.
Not too long ago.
But what's new with the city? Anything? No, of course. It came out this week. Surprisingly, I'm going to say I was surprised.
Sure.
The news that you're leaving the city at the end of this month.
That is correct.
Now, I've got a lot to ask you.
Okay.
And some of it you may be able to answer and some you can't, and that's fair enough. This was mutual, or how did this come down?
It was mutual. It was when the contract, or when I started, the council and I agreed to look at things 6 months later. And so this was a 6-month time. We got that on the agenda, and without going into details of the executive session, of course.
Sure.
But we had some candid conversations about things, and it was just a mutual agreement that I would move on and pursue the other offers that I have at this moment.
Now, of course, I haven't been doing the newspapers as long as you've been doing stuff, but I know before you were the assistant city administrator, John Angerstein. Before that, fire marshal.
Correct.
Before that?
I was just a fireman.
Just a fireman. So you've kind of served the people of Crockett for a while.
I started my professional career at the city of Crockett in the early 90s as a police officer.
Wow.
And then I left town and pursued some other interests for about 20 years and moved back to town in 2019. And this is those things that we just discussed have happened since 2019.
Well, before we get into some of the reasons why and some of what's next, how are you feeling? Are you okay with this decision?
Oh, I feel good. I mean, sometimes I think we're led sometimes to do things and step out of our comfort zone, and I think there's a lot of that involved in this decision. And so there's no animosity with me and city council and council with me either. I think a lot of people were, like you said, a little shocked that this came about, but I think that there's I'm pretty strong in my faith, and I think that there's a lot of that has a lot to do with why this decision got made.
Well, I agree. Yeah, I mean, in my life, it's not always about God opening a door. Sometimes He just closes all the other ones, and you go, "Well, I guess it's this one.
Absolutely.
It's the only one left open." Yeah. Now, again, I do have some questions about kind of the behind the scenes stuff, which you can tell us now. Because what are they going to do? Fire you?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Well, what's the plan now? Are you going to stay in this area? Are you considering offers? So and we're going to get into this as well. I know very well how hard it is for cities to find good city managers.
Absolutely.
And I know that the headhunt is on, and
Sure.
we're about to start it right here.
Right.
And I fear city council is going to find out how tough it is to find a good city manager.
It's a challenge, and I think that's the key. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand unless you're kind of in this industry, if you want to call it that yes, headhunters, recruiters, and all those things, they are trying to search out and find those people. And I think that's a lot of why this came to be as well, too. And so without getting into specifics, because I have offers and working through those, but it didn't start as much me out there searching for a new job. It was kind of people looking to find and fill vacancies. And so, but with that, the challenge is a lot of times that we take little things for granted, but in today's world, social media, live stream, events that take place, that candidates that recruiters reach out to, they do their homework and they go see where is a comfortable place. And the same for if you are in an application process, they're going to search you out and do their homework to find out about you.
Well, in other words, somebody who might be offering you a job may have seen some of our local city council meetings on YouTube, let's say, or right here on the little podcast.
That was mentioned directly.
Was it really? Yes. Interesting. But also, you, considering city A, B, or C, might be able to go online and say, oh, gosh, then nobody gets along. I don't want to go there.
Absolutely that.
All the tea in China, you couldn't get me to go there.
Absolutely that happens.
Now, I'm going to talk about a city not too far from here, but I won't give the name because it doesn't specifically matter. But they had a really good city manager for a long, long time. And some conditions changed. All of a sudden, he didn't really feel loved. I don't know a better way to put it. It just wasn't the sort of appreciation. It's kind of like, well, just sit in your office and shut up. I'm in charge, whatever. And he left because he'd been getting offers from not as in that, but in another industry. And finally, he just said, they've been after me for 7 years. It's more money. I don't have to put up with this atmosphere, and I'm going. And since then, that little city that was getting grants, I mean, stuff they really didn't technically have a right to get. And it's just because this one guy was just really good at that and really aggressive and looking for stuff. And I don't think people really understand. Obviously, you're in charge of the city operations.
Sure.
To a certain level. You're kind of the HR guy and you're over people and you kind of take what council does and say, okay, how are we going to get this done and juggle budget? Get that. But a huge part of this is a city manager being proactive and going out and saying, how am I going to find some money for that bridge that doesn't flow right anymore?
Sure.
That's a huge part of your job, or at least I know it should have been and will have to be for whoever takes this position.
Small towns are just about any town. I think anytime you can leverage dollars is critical to the long-term sustainability and growth of those cities. And I think that that's absolutely a major part of it. I mean, because we have to admit and realize that, we're taxing people as much as they can really take. And so you've got to find some other ways to fund things and do things that takes a little burden off the taxpayers.
Sure.
And so absolutely every day you've got to be looking for other avenues to leverage those funds and grants. And of course everybody says, oh, there's a grant out there for that. And part of that is absolutely true. But really, there's no free money because there's a match, there's a process, there's all of that goes into it. And
I have to pay a grant writer and 6 months of
engineering, and I don't think anybody gets the amount of paperwork and processes that go along with grant money. And that's why it's not as simple as the perfect example is the storm sirens. That's a pretty simple in theory. 6 sirens came up across the city. It's one amount, but there was engineering, there was grant writing, there was all of this. We're still trying to finish paperwork to make sure everything is done correctly so that doesn't come back. And we're 3 years into that. And so that's
three years to get 6 sirens.
And that's the process that it's never ending, but you never can stop either looking for the next one.
Right. Well, be glad we don't live in California because there'd be some owl or something, the sirens. Plus, there's 10,000 other little towns competing with you.
Absolutely.
For the same money.
Right.
Now, something else to consider, and of course, a city manager, you don't have to go out and look for grants.
Absolutely not.
You can be a 9-to-5er, see you boys in the morning, and sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have the budget. I don't know what to tell you. So it's really someone that you have to be really passionate.
Sure you do.
To juggle both of that, because I couldn't sit through 3 years of government documents to get sirens. I would say, could somebody just donate the money and we'll just go buy them? Or
well, there's an old story, just what you said, that you can take a leadership role and you can keep your head just under the radar and you can stay as long as you want and it never causes an issue. Or you can be the proactive one, and the more that you get involved in, the more proactive you are, the more concerns that get raised, the more challenges that you face. And anybody that hasn't been in these positions, I don't think they get the fact that 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, did we get that valve fixed today? Did we do this today? And I'd be
sorry to wake you up, there's a gas leak.
That absolutely. All of those things, because the city never stops. And so it's always something, because if you're concerned about your job and you care about the people, that process never stops in your head. Cool. And so it's a 24/7 and you kind of get some sleep in between.
Well, in finding somebody new, Crockett's unique in the fact that it has a weak city manager. It also kind of has a weak mayor, I suppose, in a sense. So, I personally think we got a great police chief, fire chief. Seems like most department heads are amazing. But should they leave or retire and you get somebody in that's not so good, the city manager actually has to answer for that department, but technically can't fire or really do much with those people without council approval. Is that right?
That is 100% correct. The way our charter is set up, the fire chief and the police chief they report directly to the council.
Right.
And so the only thing that the city manager does that relates to their department, in essence, is manage the budget. But ultimately, they still decide where the money's spent and whatever else. It's just kind of working through the budget side. But first and foremost, we have two great ones, fire chief and police chief, without a doubt. And it's a pleasure to work with them. So, but that's not to say that couldn't take a different. But the other side to it, some city managers would not have a problem with it because the liability within those departments doesn't fall on them.
I see. So they can always say, "Hey, you put him in there. I didn't."
That's exactly right.
Okay. And again, I love Mr. Frizzell and Chief Smith, and I'm not criticizing the way this city's set up. Just if someone, a good candidate, is thinking about coming from a city where they have a stronger manager in their charter,
absolutely,
that might be something they might,
And there's a lot of city managers that will tell you, no, if they're not responsible to me, then no, that they have no interest. It takes...
Sure.
It's very... Let's go back, and I think that brings up a good point that needs to be discussed here, is it's just like when we had the secession plan put together and John and I reversed roles.
Right.
that's a perfect example of that's two people that their egos aren't getting in the way, and it's about what's best for the city and trying to figure that out.
Not a power struggle.
Not a power struggle. It's not I did, you did, who did.
Yeah.
It's what's best for the city. And
And that wasn't by accident, by the way. I should point this out. I mean, you guys worked for a year and a half,
correct.
basically, together, sort of, kind of like the new puppy, sort of peeing on which tree's mine and those trees are yours, and
Sure.
essentially, right?
Right. And it because that had never been in existence before. And I think if you look at just in the short time that since I've had this role and when I was an assistant city manager, which was a little longer, I think you can see the way the city developed with a structure, with a moving forward. And if nothing else, I'm really proud of the fact that now that structure is there, and I think the city benefits from that for a long time in the future.
Well, and speaking of Mr. Angerstein, I don't know if you got the reference, but if you're a film buff, you will. I called him, and when he answered, I immediately said, "Every time I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in." But we'll get to what the plans are, if there are any, in a second. Now, Councilwoman Natrina Hicks alleged in one meeting that you make $1.5 million a year. Why would you give that up?
Well,
As a matter of fact, the way I understand it, and don't comment on this if you don't want to. I respect that, but I understand that from what I've seen, I think the council's going to be kind of shocked when they see some of the salaries going around cities our size, by the way, for positions like this.
well, these positions, like I kind of alluded to just a little bit ago, we're small enough that all of our employees wear many hats, including the city manager. It's not that you sit in the office and you direct this and you direct that. I mean, the perfect example is we may be the finance director in terms of budget. We may be this. We're approving requisitions every day. Yet at the same time, we're dealing with the people that aren't happy, where in other cities, there's a person for each one of those jobs, and the city administrator just administrates, if we want to use that term. Right. And so that's a little different. So on top of that, you're taking a person to come into this city that knows up front that they have many hats to wear, that turns into a lot more as it evolves. And so, yes, the challenge will be finding that person.
Well, when I see our county judge throwing salt in front of the county building before the ice storm, you go, yeah, everybody's got to do a little, and our county commissioners, everybody's got to work. Now, I can't let you get out of here without asking you some tougher questions. So first of all, it sounds like this was all pretty mutual.
Yes.
It sounds like there was no sort of one big reason that it didn't work out.
That's correct.
Okay. But I would think that if other things all were equal, you might have been inclined to stay longer. Here's what I mean by that. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. It's no secret that one city council person, Ms. Hicks, I mean, you don't have to say it, I'll say it, is not a big fan of yours or Mr. Angerstein's. And has really come after you guys in ways that, and we've questioned the paper whether or not they're even legal to, in an open session, discuss employees by name and salaries, and even if they're not true, but still. I was glad to see she found the Houston County Courier Archives. I thought that's great. How... You know what I want to ask, but I'll just go ahead and ask it. How much has that been frustrating in your job, honestly?
I think when you assume a leadership role, you have to understand that those things are not personal, and sometimes we just have to approach it from the standpoint of. We have to respect the fact that she's a council person.
Of course.
Absolutely. First and foremost.
Yes.
And with that...
She's my council person, in fact.
And so I have to respect that position. And I did all the way through, and would if I stayed no matter what.
Okay.
My job is to work at the pleasure of the mayor and the city council.
Right.
And so my job is to make sure she's informed to make rational, defensible decisions.
Right.
And that's all I can do.
Right. Here's all the information, and then she has to vote her conscience.
That's right.
So let me ask one more question.
Sure.
If you now getting headhunted, they say, hey, look, here's Buffalo, New York, and they have a YouTube channel, and you saw on their meetings what a lot of us see in our meetings, would you go?
I would have to consider it, and I would have to do a lot of research to understand it.
All right. I think. All right. Now, so I haven't heard anything, and I know this is all fast. It's going to take some time. As far as I know, before the 1st of March, you're going to be
Correct.
packing your bags or staying local. We don't know yet, right?
Right.
I hope you stick around because you're such a part of this place through, like you say, police and fire in the city. But you can't blame a man for feeding his family and doing what's best, and I get that too. Although if the New York Times called me, I still wouldn't go. But you know what I mean.
I understand.
What is the plan? And the reason I ask that is the easiest thing is to call John Angerstein and go, well, just move one chair that way for a few months until we figure it out.
Right.
But in this time, he's also built this stuff that he's doing. He just presented a couple of big projects that he's working on, bringing jobs to the city. Does that get on hold again while what's the plan?
Well, that's going to be a council decision, and I can't speak for what their plan is.
Fair enough.
And I can sure assist them with guidance or whatever and give them input, but ultimately that's for them to decide.
So, in a word, nervous, afraid, excited, liberated. How you feeling?
In a word, that might be a challenge, but I'll put it the best way I know I can. Maybe it's a few words put together. Is I think I was getting pushed. I'm taking a leap of faith.
Okay. Well, yeah, that a few butterflies in the stomach anytime you do that. Yeah, no question. You're out of your comfort zone. But as you say, if you do get, and I'll just use Buffalo, New York as the same stupid example again, you may go there and fail tremendously. But even in failing, you were here and now you're here.
That's right. Well,
even your failures, you just go, all right, well,
Sure. And anytime you take a new position, and let me be clear, I do have offers. And so, but anytime you take a new position, anything can happen. And so, we sometimes stay in our comfort zone and the creek dries up, as we say, and the good Lord tells us it's time to move on. And so, and I think that's where we are. And so I'm just going to trust in him and see what happens.
Were you surprised that council and you didn't work things out? Did you expect things to be worked out, honestly, or did you have no opinion, or kind of how did you walk into that executive session?
We just discussed it as it was a very frank, candid discussion, and I think I can't say anything negative about how it came about, how it went. I respect them; they respect me, and I think it was just me being transparent with them and them being transparent with me. And
like it was.
That's exactly right. And I don't think anybody was upset with the job I was doing. I don't think it's a performance issue at all. I think it was more of me just deciding that it was time to take that leap of faith and move forward.
We won't say goodbye.
Absolutely not.
But thank you. Thank you for coming by and for your service. And it is a win-win. We got the benefit of you caring about this place and the people that, it's your team.
Absolutely.
And you got the benefit of some good experience, which
Sure.
hopefully will, carry on to wherever you go. And if it is Buffalo, New York, don't take it. It's old, and they say it's horrible.
I'm probably a Texas guy, so you can feel pretty comfortable that I'll be in Texas somewhere. That's a fact.
Thank you,
So,
Mr. Stanley.
You bet. Thank you.
The world of today can be cruel and lonely, and especially for starving artists such as podcast hosts. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee a week, your business can become a Houston County News sponsor. You can support local journalism and get your message out to thousands of viewers. Will you find it in your heart to help? I'm sorry, I just can't go on.
Well, folks, we sure appreciate you watching. That'll do it for us this week. Be sure to tune in next week. We've actually got a couple surprise guests coming on next week. We really hope you enjoy that. In the meantime, God bless you. Be well, stay safe, and we will see you next time. Thank you.